Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of These Crazy People Just Eat Meat All the Time and Can't Shut Up About It. My name is Tom. I want to thank you for tuning in to watch another episode with me and a couple of the usual suspects. We're going to talk about what we eat, how we eat it, how much we spend, how much time we spend working on our food. We might get into a little workout and gym talk as well. So today I got Brett and I got Raymond. And Raymond is really just a two-dimensional picture, but he's much more than that underneath. So how you doing today, Brett?
I'm doing very good, buddy. It's good to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And let's have some fun, guys.
It's getting late there on the East Coast, right?
Oh, it's almost 7 p.m.
7 o'clock.
It's not too late yet, not even for this old guy.
So you just got home and you're just relaxing?
Oh, dude, this is where I work from, is home.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Where I do the coaching from, and I work one day a week at a print shop doing manual labor. I listen to podcasts all day long, or
Nice.
I listen to audiobooks, one or the other, because
Right.
the work it's not hard, but it's very repetitive, and it would be mind-numbingly excruciating without those earbuds in my ear.
Yeah, I do the same thing, man. I spend a lot of time in traffic because I live in LA or near LA. And so it's always podcasts, audiobooks, and so on and so on. That's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about making these videos, and I have a desk job where 90% of the time I'm sitting there by myself working on something on the screen and I'm listening to, a podcast or something. So why don't you give us a rundown, try and get in depth about what you eat, why you eat it, how you prep it, how much time and money you spend on it, and how you got there.
Want me to go? Or you want Raymond to go? I don't care.
You guys want to wrestle for it?
I ain't wrestling for anything.
Go ahead, Brett.
I'll let Ray go first because he might have to leave early.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah. So what I get is ribeye from Costco. It costs about $9.99 a pound for that big pack. I try to get the biggest one possible. So typically I'm buying about 18 pounds to 20 pounds, cost anywhere from between $150 to $200. And what I end up doing, so it's in a big film wrapper. So whenever I'm ready to eat, I'll cut a 1.5 inch slice of it. Sometimes if I'm in the mood for cooked, I'll put it in the air fryer, 7 minutes one side, 5 minutes the other side, salt. And if I'm in the mood for raw, I'll chop it up in little pieces, and then I'll put it in a container. So every ribeye that I make for my wife, also I cut off the fat for her, because for some reason in the air fryer, first of all, it comes with a lot of fat. So in the air fryer, she doesn't like eating the fat, but I do like eating it raw, and I don't like the fat in the air fryer because it gets kind of mushy. So I like the hard substance. So I'll put that in a container. So that way I can grab that as a snack real quick, real handy to have. The other meats that I have, typically is going out to eat, or when I make drumsticks for my kids, like turkey drumstick or chicken drumsticks, and they don't eat all of it. And those I normally spice with different seasoning. We have one that's called the butt rub. That's made for a barbecue. So it doesn't agree with me very well, but you know what? I do it. So, but that's pretty much as simple as it is for me. Very easy.
All right, Brett, let's have your rundown.
Well, for the last 14 months, almost 15 months, I've only been eating meat from Sam's Club. We get the 10-pound tubes of 90-10 ground beef at $3.12 a pound. And then I don't remember the price of the bacon. Well, how much is that bacon run for 3 packs?
It's $3.24 a pound.
Okay, it's $3.24 a pound the bacon. And it's really fun. Shopping there, it takes us like 10 minutes tops to buy a week's worth of meat for me and my wife both. And she even, as a carnivore herself, she's even gotten so bold and determined. She actually gets she opens the door to these big coolers and steps inside so that she can examine each package individually to make sure it's got the right kind of acceptable amount of fat on it.
I got news. I did that before we were ever carnivore.
Well, okay, she's done. I didn't know.
She knows what she likes.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and I fix, I have 10 ounces of 90-10 ground beef for breakfast and lunch every day. And then at dinner, it's 14 ounces of 93.7 ground beef. Those we get in little square packets. I don't recall how much that is a pound. Do you? She doesn't remember.
Yeah,
either.
about $3.75.
$3.75 a pound for the 93.7. Oh, it's so satisfying. It looks like muscle. It's just beautiful meat. Anyway, the hamburger, the ground beef's always pattied out and measured in advance. It's the only thing we do measure is the weight of the meat we eat. And it takes right at 14 minutes to cook 10 ounces, and it takes about 16 minutes to cook what you make, the 14-ounce one. The bacon is always made in the air fryer. It takes 6 to 7 minutes for 4 to 5 slices, depending on how thick it's cut.
But you can fit 6 in there if you're very careful.
Yeah, the wife will put 6 in. She does it her way. I do it my way.
But 7 minutes, yeah, it's great.
But it works perfect, and that's how all those pictures of bacon just look so delicious, because they are. I mean, it's really just, I cannot make it that good in a pan or in the oven. I just fail at it.
Yeah, even I don't
Wait,
fry.
how do you do a hamburger then? Do you fry it in a pan?
Hamburgers fixed in a pan on the stovetop cooked with salt and butter, or on the
What
grill.
about oil? Okay, so butter has oil?
Butter adds fat.
Oh, adds fat. Got it.
And it tastes, salty butter, it tastes really good when.
Yeah, he puts butter on his hamburgers, cooks them in butter, but I don't. But
how do you make the?
Go ahead.
How do you make it stick together?
It just does.
Stuff.
We just press it together by hand. I get asked that all the time, especially by folks from outside the U.S. What do you bind it? What do you use for a binder? I'm like, these 2 hands.
Yeah, I get asked that too. And I just happen to have a hamburger press that I got as a gift. It says like Jim Beam on it or something. Somebody just gave it to me. And it's just like round aluminum trays. And then it's got a handle thing. And you just put a ball of meat in there and you can press it in. And it puts little grill marks on it and everything. It's just kind of a novelty thing. But it's kind of fun because I can measure out the meat on a scale and then put them in there. And I think it's like perfect for, they do a half pound. I think you can make like a perfect half pound patty in each one of these. So it's just, and I was going to ask you, I think when I asked Brett before, like you were saying that you knew roughly how much meat you ate every day, right? You eat 3 patties a day with a certain number of strips of bacon, depending on whether you work out or not, right?
Well, yeah, I went down to 8 slices of bacon because I wanted to see if that was going to accelerate my fat reduction, and it did some. But as the temperature started warming up again, and I've been exercising, even my workout times extended, I'm back to eating 10 slices of bacon. That's why it's going away quicker.
And do you do it primarily based on what satisfies you as opposed to like some formula of how much to eat?
Yeah, I don't have any formulas.
No, we just eat what we want.
We eat what we want. We eat what we know satisfies us. I mean, I didn't start out this way. I mean, I think when we first started measuring patties out of the 90-10, it was 8 ounces, and that wasn't enough, obviously. But I was eating a lot more bacon then too, and it's kind of like.
And you were having bacon. You were having a late, like a 9 p.m.
Well, yeah, that was in the beginning. In the beginning, I ate 4 times a day. In the last the last evening meal would always be just
Bunch
like
of
10,
bacon.
12 slices of bacon. Oh man, it was good. I was ravenous those first 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Just ravenous.
Hey, Brett,
Yeah, go ahead.
you ever tried a ribeye?
I like
Oh, yeah,
ribeyes.
well, I've made ribeye.
Ribeyes are great.
They're not budget friendly.
They're not budget friendly.
okay.
And I'll be honest with you. Thanksgiving we splurged, and I bought this awesome T-bone. Oh, it was like filet on both sides. It was tender.
It was almost porterhouse.
And I'm halfway through eating this super tender piece of steak thinking, I wish I'd had my ground beef instead because it tastes better.
He said I would have
What?
just
You
got a
did not.
hamburger. Hey, no more steak for you, mister.
Oh my gosh.
It's what I crave. I mean, it is genuine. I'm not just eating that every day because I'm lazy. I mean,
You
Yeah, 'cause
actually
I
like it.
I make pork chops, I make chicken, I make fish, but he just wants that hamburger and that bacon.
Creature of habit.
Yeah.
But you know what? Before we went carnivore, he didn't have a broad range of food tastes. He was just like a meat and potatoes guy.
Mm.
Mm.
So
Straightforward.
He doesn't get bored with.
I was told
easily.
I was the most boring man in the world back when we were eating crap. And I undoubtedly was because I only liked a few things. Of course, I was sick. I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for all those years. It's no surprise. And my mind was always working against me. So who knows what stuff I might have liked that my brain was like, no, you're not having that. You might get a moment of pleasure out of that. We can't allow that to happen.
But even in the carnivore, the taste has evolved over time. We started off with a lot of steak and eggs, and I made these giant pork chops, and it just whittled down to what we felt like eating. Things just got phased out, not from any conscious effort to say, okay, well, we can't do this because pork chops is about the cheapest thing you can eat. I mean, I can get them for $1 a pound, but it was just what we felt like eating and what we wanted to eat, and it evolved to where it's been mostly beef and bacon. Really.
And for instance, she talks about our taste changing. You might remember I used to take the silly pictures of me holding up the big white box of bacon in the parking lot. Well, we loved that bacon when we first started eating it, but after as time went on, it didn't.
Yeah, first he stopped eating it.
It stopped tasting good to me, and then it stopped tasting good to her.
Yeah, eventually I stopped eating it too. It's kind of weird.
Well, what I noticed was I tried a couple different brands, and so a lot of them seemed too salty to me. So then I started. I found the one brand. I think the brand I buy now is the Hormel thick cut Applewood or something like that. It comes in a 3-pound package. I don't like thin bacon. I cook my bacon kind of soft too. I like it like pastrami as opposed to crispy. So, but I noticed a lot of the bacon, even the expensive stuff, was just too salty. So I don't know what that is.
Some of it's ridiculously salty. And the stuff that's got too much sugar left from the curing process, it always turns black around the edges when we cook it. That's instant dog food. I get asked about that all the time. Don't you worry about the sugar in the cure? No. No, not at all. Don't worry about nitrates or nitrites either. Just let
I'm the same. If I have bacon, I'm the same. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I have zero worries about what I eat. Zero, none. I get asked all the time. I bet you guys do too, to some degree or another. But what about? Don't you worry about protein in your kidneys, and don't you worry about this, and don't you worry about that? No. Well, that's the great thing about doing this. You don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly. Now, I did worry a lot back then. I mean, I didn't worry back then on my sad days when I was eating all this GMO crop, pesticides. I mean, you name it, it was in it. And I didn't worry then. I mean, now it's a simple, very clear diet. So why would I worry?
Yeah, and of course we've all heard heard about or read the protein overfeeding studies. You know, the stuff that Jose Antonio did, and we've heard Dr. Ted Nyman talk about it, and on and on and on. And then we know all kinds of characters out there, bodybuilders and stuff, that have been eating steak and eggs for decades, and they don't have any kidney problems. I know I got a question on one of the videos, and we could probably do this, but somebody is just asking the general question if we were worried about our colon health, you know. And it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of an obvious question, because we've all been told that, like, you're going to get colon cancer from eating red meat, but I'm pretty sure none of the three of us believe that now, right?
Well, let's put it this way. I have bad colon. I mean, I have that IBD. I believe it's ulcerative colitis.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since carnivore, I mean, you know, when you're going to the bathroom and you're bleeding, you know, your stool's blood for like 2 weeks, you know, you got a bad colon. That, you know, all that stuff on carnivore. So if anything, I was probably, you know, I probably would have gotten diagnosed with cancer, to tell you the truth, if I actually went and did it.
Well,
But
I think
now it's all clear.
I think the highest risk for like colorectal cancer, bowel cancer, is having some sort of inflammatory disease, which
That's right.
obviously if you got diverticulosis, you know, IBS or something like that, you probably are at high risk for some sort of bowel cancer. So getting rid of that is probably a massive reduction in risk. So that takes eating bacon. I'm there. I like to say, if bacon kills me, I still win. So Ray,
No
I was going to ask Ray, how do you decide how much to eat, Ray?
I go by hunger signals. So, I mean, so sometimes I'll overstuff myself. Well, I don't say overstuff. I never actually stuff myself on carnivore. It's kind of weird. It's almost impossible to do. It's just I eat until I don't know. I just push my plate aside. It's just instinctive at this point. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like when you're full, you're just done. It just doesn't interest you anymore.
Right.
So that's how I pick it. So I don't really weigh it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times that I've cut that piece of ribeye and I'll eat the whole thing, and then I'll think, I'm still a little bit peckish. Well, that's where I hunt down my wife's meal that she has left over, or my kids, you know, or take some ham and I'll eat some ham, you know, just to finish it up. It usually doesn't take much at that point.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought I'd show some pictures real quick, and you guys could comment on them. They're kind of like my so just some stuff I've been throwing up on Instagram. Let me know when you guys can see them. Are they visible, Brett?
I see them now.
I see it.
So that first picture, that's earlier today with I was talking to BNS. So that video will be coming up right before this one. This picture right here, this is actually some sirloin tip steak I bought at Sam's Club. It's about $3-4 a pound, and I threw it in the smoker this morning, and it cooked up real fast. Somebody gave me this smoker. They were moving. It was my friend's brother. And I'd always wanted to smoke meats. And he gave this to me, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. And I just got started using it a couple weeks ago, and now I can't stop smoking meat. It's fun. It's inexpensive. I think I smoked 18 pounds of meat today. So, but I had, you could see this one here. This is a brisket I did. I bought that at Sam's Club. It was about $20. It was about 6 pounds of meat. And it came out of the smoker, and I think I ate a third of it, like before it had time to rest. I was like, I was in it, and I just kept eating it. So, and this right here is a typical lunch for me. Like if I'm eating steak, this is a choice New York strip. They go from about $5 to $7 a pound. They've been kind of high right now, about $7 a pound. But it's leaner than a ribeye, and I've been trying to eat leaner, trying to get leaner. So this right here is some bottom round that I smoked with the brisket. And then if I go out, especially like if I'm hanging out with Justin, we go to In-N-Out, we'll get these. These are called Flying Dutchman. And they're just a meat patty with a piece of cheese in it. And I think they only cost about $2.20, maybe $2.50 a piece, you know? So that's kind of fun. You go to a fast food restaurant and you can order something off. It's called the secret menu, but, you know, just about everybody knows. If you say, give me some Flying Dutchman, they know exactly what you're talking about.
Is that a quarter pounder? Do you know? A quarter pound?
I think each one of those is a quarter pound. I asked a couple times and the employees didn't actually know, but I think Sean got to the bottom of it and he mentioned it in a video. And Sean will do that too, because, you know, Sean Baker, I should say, he lives in the same kind of general area I do, and this In-N-Out restaurant is very common around here. So he'll do the same thing, especially like when he's got his kids with him, they want to get a hamburger. He orders, you know, 2 or 3 times as many as I do, but you know, it's the same thing. So this right here, I call my Lloyd special. This is ground beef with bacon on it. So obviously I didn't bother to make patties in this case. I just cooked some ground beef in a pan. I usually would try and get the 80-20, but I noticed like Sam's Club I go to now, they mostly have the it's only got 10% fat added to it, so it's, you know, 90-10 ground beef lately. So it's okay, but you got to be careful not to overcook it. I tend to like my meat less cooked. I don't know if you notice, like my bacon here is not crispy. Like I said, I like it like pastrami. I don't like it all crunchy. So I don't know if I got any more food. This typical, I've got like a 12-inch cast iron pan. I can cook 4 New York strips at one time. So that's plenty of food for a day for me usually. I usually eat like 2 to 3 of those in a day. So this right here, you can see I got some Braunschweiger, some goat cheese, and some jerky that I made. I've got a dehydrator, and when I get the really thin cut tip steak, it's perfect. A lot of times I just put salt on it, throw it right in the dehydrator, and let it rip, and it comes out like this big, beautiful pieces of jerky. And of course, it's stable. It lasts forever. You could take it with you on the go. Last time I was traveling, I must have taken like 3 or 4 pounds of jerky with me, which was probably like 10 or 12 pounds of beef originally. So I had plenty to eat. This is some cut up tip steak in the, you know, that I cooked in a pan. Some more strip steak. And then this is the tip steaks in the dehydrator. That's a dehydrator. It looks like it's got 10 trays that are almost a foot square, so I can dehydrate like 10 square feet of meat, which is pretty cool. And sometimes I'll eat shrimp. Like this was just some frozen shrimp I bought at the store. Don't eat a lot of seafood, but probably not as much as I'd like. These guys here are future baby back ribs. I don't know if you can see them. So there's their tracks I've been tracking. Some more jerky. And this is that chili I make. Sometimes I'll put a little cayenne pepper and some canned green chilies in the ground beef. So you can see a picture of it here. Here's some brains I was cooking. If you guys
How'd you get that?
brains are hard to get. There's 2 reasons why brains are difficult to get. One is, you know, back when they had the mad cow disease scare, people kind of stopped eating brains, and a lot of places just stopped carrying it. And a lot of places like, oh, we can only sell you the whole heads or something like that. And then they want like $75 for a whole head, and all the meat's gone off the outside of the head, the tongue's gone. And so then you got to pay all this money for this big head. You got to go home and saw it in half. And that's only the ones that are slaughtered locally. If they're slaughtered in a slaughterhouse, they get a captured bolt through the head, so it punches a hole in the brain. So then they got to cut the head open and pick out the pieces of brain, and then they only can sell. I don't know why some places can sell it and some can't, but I kept bugging the people at the market. And one of the Mexican markets near my work, eventually it showed up on the shelf. and it's fresh. It's not frozen. It's from the
Damn,
U.S. So
lucky.
it's $6 or $7 a pound right there. And I so far of all the brains I've had, I think I like the beef the best, but the pork brain is second. And I have to look for that at the Chinese markets. The Chinese supermarkets will have the pig. They'll have pig blood sometimes too. So
Pig blood? No way.
yeah, you can
Great.
get pig
I'll have to
blood.
check out all this. Yes,
They
great.
sell pig blood at the IGA here in Jacksonville.
And what's an
My wife
IGA
just
for
told me.
us?
My wife just told me.
What is IGA?
It's a grocery store chain.
Hmm.
Rose IGA is what it's called.
Well, right here you can see a steak and some liver. I don't know if it's all that interesting. That's Sean at that rowing competition last year, almost exactly a year ago. That's my MRI machine that I got my CAC score in. This is a sheep brain. This is actually frozen. Came in from Australia of all places. Not my favorite. I don't know if it's because of the freezing process or just what they ate. But anyways, the fresh cow brain is definitely better than the frozen imported sheep brain. And I have to get the sheep brains I found at a halal market. So that's basically a Muslim butcher shop. So which is relatively common in Southern California, not super common. So
They're all over Jacksonville as well.
oh, okay. Yeah, if you want goat or sheep, that's the place to go for me. You know, it's like the halal markets. They usually have good beef there too. But and if you want organ meat, it's like if you want beef hearts or something like that, that's a good place to go. So, anyways,
I like that book you're holding there before. That I hope that guy on page 160 and 161 wasn't too terrifying.
yeah. You want? What was it like to show up in a book like that, Brett?
Crazy, just wonderful, a little weird, but not too weird. I mean, I knew it was happening. I mean, he asked me months before it came out, but my old way I hadn't kicked all my negativity to the curb yet, so I kept conjuring up reasons why it might not happen. And one of them would be a valid one, which would be, a publisher, the editor, they're the ones who finally decide if something gets kicked out or not.
Right.
It might have been, so when I heard that, yes, I was in it, I was thrilled. I'm still excited and happy as all get out about it, and honored beyond belief that he asked me. I mean, because if there's anybody on this planet who's heard some stories, it's Sean Baker.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for him to pick mine out of all those thousands that he's heard that for his book, it was just mind-bogglingly wonderful.
Well, I think you really sum up a lot of what people struggle with, right? And I think it's, that's the hard part, is telling people that a lot of these really common problems are really just from what we eat. Still a hard pill to swallow, right?
Well, that programming is tough to break, and stop and think about it. I mean, even my own experience, I could process what I was being told intellectually, but the first few weeks I was a nervous wreck because it was going against everything I had ever been taught was good for me. And I had faith in the people. I had faith in the integrity of the people who told me about it. Jordan Peterson, Sean Baker, Amber O'Hearn. Their integrity is undeniable. So I put my faith in their integrity and just followed the directions and held on, and it's all been great. There hasn't been a down day since I started, really.
There is a little bit of faith involved, right? But I mean, the same thing's true when the doctor writes you a script, And I mean, the underlying message with the prescription is this should help, right? But it's not necessarily going to work for everybody, right?
Yeah, take this for 6 months and come back and see us and tell us how you're doing. Whereas with eating this way, I mean, I knew instantly whether I was full or satisfied. I can remember the first morning I had steak and eggs for breakfast, and some bacon. And I just remember after I was done with that first meal, of course, you're all excited. I'm doing something new. This is going. Jordan Peterson said this would work.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I just remember feeling full, like truly satiated. And for me, when I hit that not another bite full, I could swallow that last bite and still be chewing on something. I have to spit it out for the dog. I can't swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let me swallow it.
You never give it to the cat, just the dog?
For that, no, the dog gets that because that's bacon, and I don't just give the bacon to anybody. Dogs got seniority.
Dogs got seniority. I understand. Yeah. I mean, if a burglar breaks in, it's not going to be the cat that saves you.
It won't be that dog either because he thinks everybody wants to play and is his friend even now. He's the most disappointing watchdog I ever had. He looks the part. He's a big old dog. He's like 90 pounds and in really good shape for he's about to turn 10. But he's the worst watchdog in the world. Another dog got into our yard, and I stepped back thinking, well, I'm not getting in the middle of what's about to come. And he just kind of looked at him and wagged his tail and looked at me like, I don't know what to do, Dad. I think he wants to play. I'm like, you're useless.
Hey, Brett, what do you feed your dog?
Raw meat. Chicken hindquarters, chicken hearts, chicken livers, ground beef.
Did you always do that, or that's a new thing?
No, we started that. How long ago, honey? We started.
It's been hard.
8 months, 6 months, a year.
Not a year. I'd say
Not quite a year. He was starting to deteriorate. In fact, this time last year, I was afraid I was going to put him down because he was getting lame. He was having trouble moving around. And
he'd sleep and not want to get up.
Yeah, he'd sleep and he was always an energetic, happy animal.
And his skin.
And he was constantly chewing holes in himself because his skin itched all over. And we spent a fortune on creams and crap at the vet, and none of it ever lasted. His ears were always a mess. And so when I was very upset because I thought, I'm going to have to put him down in a week. I'm going to give him a week. And then she started feeding him raw meat, and he immediately bounced back. I mean, he was walking good, and he's energetic. I mean, he's almost 10 years old. I can go throw the ball, he'll go chase it, and there's a pretty woman. She's got something to say.
I wanted to say about the dog food because I recently found out, I mean, he's been saying I shouldn't worry about it, but I didn't want to give the dog raw pork. Because, you're always hearing stories. Well, I found out that like everything else, it's baloney. It's baloney. The odds of even a human getting trichinosis in this country from pork products is like slim and none. And the danger to a dog is non-existent. The worst thing that could happen is he might bark. So basically they can eat raw pork. So raw pork, pork is even cheaper.
So he's going to be eating some pork soon.
So he's going to, whenever the pork goes on sale for 98 cents, I can get him.
Great. Oh, let us know.
Yeah, I give him basically whatever I can get my hands on to give him a good proportion of meat to bone and organ meats and whatever. But, dogs are like disposals. They can eat about anything. And I throw eggs in there too for him. He loves eggs. All animals love eggs.
I think I smoked a bunch of pork chops today, and I think they're $1.56 a pound.
Yeah, I'll buy a whole pork loin at Sam's, which will be enough food for my son and I for a month. We'll eat pork chops about once a week, probably. Pork loin.
Pork chops tasted good to me. I mean, I ate them in the first few months. Just no more satisfying.
Yeah, you don't like it.
And this is my wife, Danielle. She's been carnivore for 1 month less than me. And tell them what you healed with your carnivory, dear.
Well, the first thing that happened was my skin. I've had a lot of allergies all my life, especially eczema. And that was the first thing that was literally gone. And then I would say the arthritis is the next biggest improvement because I was felt my career was in danger. I'd missed work and I was having to take high dose ibuprofen every day and occasional pain pill. And they basically told me it will never get better. It will only get worse and you're doomed. That's basically what the doctor told me. And so that was a long time ago, and I've not even been back to the
We haven't been back to that doctor, and it's just down the street. I mean, literally a block away from this house right now is where that doctor's office is.
And,
Lost another customer.
My morning mood, I was the kind of person who, in the morning when I get up, don't even talk to me.
You must have been quite
I
prepared.
don't even want to look at you, but don't even talk to me till I've had a couple cups of coffee and I quote unquote woken up. And then after we started eating this way, one morning I came out here and we were talking. And after about 10 minutes, he goes, "You haven't even had your coffee."
I thought I was having a religious
That's
experience.
hilarious.
I mean, it was bizarre. She not only got up in a good mood, she started talking before she even walking into the room.
Yeah, so now I'm a jabbermouth.
I'm like, who is this person?
He used to never get me, I wouldn't talk at all, but now I talk too much.
No, she doesn't.
Were you on prescription for those arthritis stuff? Any type pills?
For 800 milligram ibuprofen, and then they gave me pain pills, which I'm sure that if I went back and said I needed more, they probably would prescribe more. But I don't. He'll tell you even before Carnivore, I hate taking medicine. I don't believe in symptomatic relief. I think it's useless. It makes you forget that there's something wrong. And so if you don't think there's something wrong, you don't notice it. People go to work when they're contagious and, they do a lot of stupid stuff because they think they're well, but all they're doing is masking symptoms. So I hated taking stuff. Luckily, I didn't get sick real often.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I had arthritis really bad. Like, I got out of bed one morning, I couldn't turn the doorknob to get out of my bedroom. And I knew I was in trouble.
So bad I couldn't even write my name anymore. But and I'm a screen printer, so that's like rowing all day. So it's been a big thing for me to not be in pain all the time. I don't even think about it most of the time.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothers me some is my hands a little bit, and it may well be that until I'm not printing anymore, I might not be able to completely get over that. But
4 more years, dude.
So that was mainly your hands, not your knees or anything like that?
My shoulders was the biggest problem. Now, I had other physical problems because I was a ballet dancer when I was young, and I had tore up the cartilages in my knees. I had bone mice in the tendon in my foot. I had cortisone shots in my foot, and all of that doesn't really bother me anymore. Now, I can't do like a deep knee bend and get up without some difficulty, but I am 61, so it's not like all of a sudden you're 25 again. But those things don't bother me really. And my hips, it would hurt when I walked some, and really all of that is gone.
I never saw a person in my life until I met her that had a rash that would last. She had a rash on her leg for 22 years.
Yeah, the eczema never goes away. It'll just be in different places and different things would happen. And I had a lot of allergies, and I was even somebody who, before we went carnivore, I ate about 99.9% home cooked food because I had so many food allergies. So I was lucky in that there was a lot of stuff I wasn't eating. I was allergic to soy,
what she was eating.
And soybeans. I was allergic to legumes. And
without pasta, I'll die.
I thought I would starve.
She actually said that. Without pasta, I'll die.
I can't live without bread. I don't know how many times I've heard that.
But you know what I realized that all of the stuff that you put on that food that makes it good, like what makes pasta good? What you put on it. What makes bread good? And what
sauce, meat, butter.
Yeah. Fat is what makes stuff taste
good. That's right.
What's good on bread? Butter. You know.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can say about pasta is probably texture. That's it.
Yeah, but
I guess it's got the texture.
Pasta with nothing on it. Nobody. Only mice.
Nope.
Yeah. See, I hated pasta. I had to eat it when I was a kid against my will, and I had that pounded into my head. When you move out on your own, you can eat whatever you want to, whenever you want to. And I was like, that became a religion for me at one point. And I wouldn't, when we first met, I mean, pasta heavy doesn't begin to cover it.
Oh, I would cook pasta or rice or something.
I wouldn't even sit in a room with it.
3-4 times a week.
I would eat in the other room. I couldn't even stand the smell of it, let alone look at it. And come to find out, I had good reason to feel that way because it was poison. It's garbage.
Well,
there you
what
go.
He didn't like rice. Like, who doesn't like rice? The world lives on rice.
Well, the world's full of idiots too.
Yeah,
what can I say?
I had a grandfather that was allergic to rice. Every time he ate rice, he'd hiccup uncontrollably. It was wild.
It's grass. It's just grass seed is what it is. When you think about what these things really are, you start thinking, why do people think that they could eat that?
Right.
Grass seed. What can I make this into to make it look like food?
Right.
It is crazy when you think about it.
It is crazy. It's kind of a crazy story how we all wound up eating a bunch of plants.
Bizarro thoughts.
Just to find out that we're supposed to be eating animals.
Well, and look at, I don't know what you guys are spending, but we bought enough meat for the two of us. It was $115 for both of us. For both of us.
Well,
yeah.
For the food for the three of us.
Yeah, we got a grown son.
Yeah, so I spend $100 to $150 a week on all of that meat. Now, I buy other stuff, of course. You need paper towels, paper plates, and dish detergent.
That's not
stuff.
Food, though.
No, it's not. So, but all of that is like minimal compared to the meat expense. Of course, is a lot more than I ever spent on meat before. But when I think of the waste of like all those times when you buy fruit or vegetables and they go bad before you eat them all. Used to buy the boxes of the nice lettuce from BJ's, and I would get like halfway through that box before it was turned to crap, and then you got to throw it out. And you're paying like per pound. Fruit and vegetables are very expensive compared to meat. They're a lot more expensive than meat per pound.
And then you end up throwing most of it away, anyways.
Throw most of it away. I mean, half of the fruit you gotta throw half of it away before you even get to the edible part.
And a lot of the crops never make it to the market because they're in such rough shape. They just wind up getting thrown out before they even even pick them.
The fact that there is now someplace online where you can like order the quote unquote reject fruit, like the ugly stuff that they don't want to put on the shelf. I mean, isn't that the most absurd thing you ever heard of?
And a lot of that fruit wouldn't look the way it does if it didn't get a coating of wax, if there wasn't pesticides, if it hadn't been crossbred to be prettier and sweeter, So, yeah, I agree. I think universally we all spend less money when we go to the store, because when we buy meat, even if you were paying more per pound, it's more dense, right? You'd have to get a whole crap load of different plants together to try and get the same nutritional quality and combination of amino acids and fats and stuff like that. And it just seems clear that plant-based fats and plant-based proteins are inferior, and eating carbohydrates all the time is going to have a negative impact on your health.
Plus, whenever one would eat a quote-unquote regular meal, how long after you were done are you already thinking about what you're going to have next? Like after you have lunch, like an hour later, what am I going to have for snack? Or what am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to eat tomorrow?
You can go right
that
from
was
being,
so me. I was so much like that.
You could go right from being miserable to wanting to eat something else in just a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Don't miss any of that. I haven't. When I hear people, well, what do you snack on? Snack? I haven't had a snack.
No snacks.
I don't. For what purpose? I only eat when I'm hungry. I mean, I legit only eat when I'm hungry. And that's the one thing with this carnivore conference coming up. There's going to be the time difference and whatnot. That's going to be an interesting challenge because I probably won't be able to eat when I would normally eat, just due to circumstances beyond my control. So it's
hey, McDonald's got the quarter pounder.
Oh yeah, McDonald's, sure. If there's one available, if I'm at 30,000 feet that's not going to be an option.
That's why you take a backpack full of jerky with you.
Well, I do have Philip, the owner of the Carnivore Bar.
Carnivore Bar? Yeah. Philip Mason.
He's,
samples, yeah.
yeah, he sent me some samples to try and let him know
We're safe
privately what I thought about. And we've still got 2 bars left. And we're keeping that for the trip to Colorado.
I've been meaning to order some of those. I know he's in Emily's new group, the Center of Brilliance. He's in there, so I'm gonna introduce myself.
He's a really good guy. He, not surprisingly, as most of the people in this community are. But I mean, he's a genuinely nice man. He wanted to know my sincere thoughts on his product, and he listened and was just appreciative of me taking the time out of the day to do that. And I respect that immensely.
Awesome. So let's get on to the whole thing about activity. I think the difference, the stark difference is when we change our diet and we went carnivore, we not only felt better, we not only had a clearer mind, our aches and pains started going away, or our mood's better, we needed fewer medications, but we all decided to be more active, right? And it's entirely different. Even when I was a little kid, it was harder to exercise than it is now. Is that your experience, Brett?
I can't say that because I was a jock. I was crazy active young. I mean, I was always running to do something. I played organized sports from the age of 8, and it just went, it was football season and 2 days off, and then basketball season, and then no days off baseball season, etc. And I mean, I eventually gave up baseball just mainly so I could enjoy summertime, because I couldn't go to the pool, I couldn't go swim, I couldn't do this. I had batting practice, I had a game. It wasn't fun, but football and basketball were enormously important to me, and something that my depression used against me with retrospect, because I was one of those. Well, the first day of football practice, I would come down the steps and my mom would say, "I won't see you smile again until the end of basketball season."
Oh, really?
And because it was football season, life was
serious business.
Friday to Friday, it was life or death. It was life or death. And, losing was just an unforgivable thing. Now I would never, I would still play sports, and I would still strive to be excellent, but I would recognize certain realities, like if the man across the line of scrimmage from me outweighs me by 125 pounds, I shouldn't feel bad that I can't move him off the ball.
Maybe not. Maybe let yourself have that one.
But I was very, very active until about the age of 25. 25, I had finally drank enough beer and smoked enough cigarettes to where getting up and down the gym floor was just not a good idea. And so I just kind of quit from that point and began the swell.
The swell. Gotcha.
But carnivore gives you a certain energy level that is you just kind of want to be doing stuff.
Right.
Instead of like slogging through the day. I mean, my job especially, like you can really just kind of slog through the day and you don't ever really feel upbeat about it. But I feel that nowadays I don't ever feel like, even if I have a really hard day, it's just not the same. There isn't clock watching, or there isn't like, oh my God, I'm so tired. It's just a really different feeling. And I feel overall it's just more positive. Just feel more positive about everything. And even things that in the past might have made you groan, just don't, it's not like you don't think that they suck, but
not worth the energy.
Yeah, but you don't waste your time moaning about it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working out also?
I go to the gym once a week. Other than that, to be perfectly honest, I don't really like going to the gym. Now, if I had other options, time or money allowed other options, I would probably go take like ballet classes or something. And that's just because of what I prefer to do as far as exercising. But I do go to the gym on Sunday mornings.
We go together.
So we go together on Sunday mornings.
That'd be crazy if you did ballet again. That'd be really crazy.
Oh, I would love to. You know, and the funny thing is even 10 years ago, I would have kind of not even dreamt of being able to do that because I would have known that I couldn't do it. And now, even at my age, I think I could definitely go back to class and do pretty well. And which is kind of blows my mind. But physically, especially my joints, my muscles, everything, I feel better now than I did 10 or even 15 years ago, which is crazy.
Well, I can tell you, wait till your second year. It's even better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's definite ongoing improvement. And plus, he tells me I fiddle around with things too much. You know, dairy, no dairy, you know, this kind of meat, that kind of meat, coffee, no coffee, you know, alcohol, no alcohol. I'm always
She takes chances with stuff I wouldn't touch for love nor money.
Now, if my mental health was at stake, I'm sure that I wouldn't be screwing around with it either.
Well, that's how a lot of us got here, was that we were really sick for one reason or another. And so we're all sensitive to different things, you know, because we see a much greater risk in one category than somebody else will, for sure. You know, and some people do dairy fine and some people don't.
Well,
it can depend on what type of dairy we're talking about.
She's not got a lot of on-camera experience.
No, I'm a terrible interrupter.
Don't worry about it. No, you're doing great. You're doing great, Danielle. So don't worry about it.
The thing with the dairy is, it is, as he puts it, it is kind of a carb creep. I think it does. It's like I even said in the Zeroing In on Health, I was talking to somebody and I said, the problem with cheese, it makes you want to eat more cheese. And then it's like, hey, you know what? Yogurt tastes good too. Or how about sour cream on something? Or, I mean, I'm perfectly happy drinking black coffee, but you know, it's good with cream in it too. And so I had given it up for January, and then I started back with it again, and I realized I'm going to have to stop again. Because it does make you, it's there, the tiny, tiny thing in the back of your head. And so it is a bit of a danger. Now, I'm sure there's some people who can maybe.
I warned her. I did.
I think for some people maybe who are not so tempted, but
I think part of it comes down to, and this is something we've talked about before, so don't look surprised when I say this. Okay. You know, when we were eating carbs and all that crap, she would make these wonderful dishes, and I would say, "Remember how you did that? That was perfect." She's already thinking about what she could do to improve. It was like she was never, ever really satisfied, or never thought this was just what he wants. I would tell her, press save. Yeah, remember how you do this.
He doesn't understand. I grew up in a household where critiquing was a way of life.
Well, we're in a different house now.
Yeah, but old habits are.
And I think that's
there's one of this house, and then there's this house.
I think that's one of the reasons.
This one is a lot older than this one.
I think that's one of the reasons why she still takes chances and is always changing things up, because of that habit. Yeah. And I work. She actually has dodged every bullet she shot at herself. Pretty much.
I will readily admit that I generally have to learn things the hard way. I have to do it myself. And
you know, there's something to be said for experimenting, especially if you can pull yourself back from it. You know, because I'm curious about stuff too. You know, it's like the only cheese I've been eating recently is goat cheese. Eat a little bit of goat cheese.
Oh, I much prefer that or sheep.
The goat cheese is easy for me to get. The sheep cheese I rarely see. And I just recently bought some Parmesan. But I mean, when I eat something like that, it's really just kind of a seasoning. You know, it's not like you're going to sit and eat a big chunk of Parmesan. You know, you just sprinkle a little on here or there, right?
So. Well, go ahead, Raymond.
On the Carb Creek part, let me tell you, I got up to eating half a pound of cheese at times.
Wow.
And I was like, man, I am such an addict. It's not even funny. So, yeah. So I quit it in January, too. We'll see how long I can give it up for, though.
What kind of cheese did you eat, Raymond?
It was cheddar. So it was like an English cheddar.
Mm.
And it comes like in a pound. So I'll eat half that.
It's easy to eat a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you just keep going. And the weird thing is you don't get full, you know? So I could eat the whole pound, actually. I don't know. I probably did do that at a certain point.
Yeah, that is a problem.
I guess I'm lucky in that I wasn't much of a cheese eater beforehand.
Really like it.
I mean, I would have some melted on, mozzarella
You
on
said
pizza.
mozzarella
But
on the hamburger meat.
yeah, when
You did your Atkins thing.
Yeah, when I was stupid and ignorant. And
We used to drain. It's so funny to think about that now. He ate that for months. His hamburger, and I'd cook the hamburger meat, not in a patty on the pan, and then we drain all the fat off of it.
Because we didn't know. We were.
It's like sacrilege now.
I mean, I would have gotten better so much sooner.
Oh yeah, like when he went on Atkins the first time, and he lost all this weight, and he felt great, and we never thought that it was the diet that made him feel good. It was, oh, you lost weight and you've overcome some personal issues or whatever. It never occurred to us that it was as simple as not eating carbs. It's mind blowing when we look back and see that little window of time that year where everything was great while he was on Atkins. And we have the pictures to prove it.
Well,
I think went south as soon as you started eating normal again. It all went down the toilet.
I think we see that a lot. Even like they say, "Oh yeah, you drop a few pounds and your blood pressure magically gets perfect." And I think, well, maybe it's the diet. Maybe losing some weight doesn't hurt, but maybe it's actually just changing the diet lets your blood pressure go back to normal.
Yeah, people assume that it's simply the lost weight, that it didn't matter how you lost the weight or what you were eating, like these people who go on a crazy one kind of food diet nonsense. And
Raymond's at Costco.
Yes, he is.
How'd you know? You can tell.
You see the sign over your shoulder, brother.
I saw
That's
those.
right.
I saw those lights, and I was like, "He's at Costco." And then you walk past a big sign that said Costco.
He's there to buy some meat.
That's right. I'll show you the meat I'm getting too.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you all, when I go to a meat counter now, I'm like a little kid in the candy store. I want to look at it all. I want to pick it all up, except for when it's cold and I'm freezing to death. But I mean, I get like silly giddy. What about you guys?
I probably spent half hour walking back and forth with a giant meat case last night because I was like, I'm working from home tomorrow. I'm going to start the smoker at 7 o'clock in the morning. What am I going to put in it? What am I going to put in it? Oh, man, what am I going to smoke? And I was just pacing back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, I've never done that. Just throwing all this meat.
Hey, I got to get some good smoker recipes from you because I have a smoker that I don't use nearly enough. Because to be perfectly honest, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And when you
take a look here. So it's $8.99 a pound right here. That's a 15-pounder. I usually get the bigger one. So now I do like the softer meats. So I kind of touch it, kind of feel it. And if you turn it around, you can see the amount of fat on the back. If it's too hard, I don't like it that hard. So I try to find one that's just a little bit more tender. And they all needed one. So that's what I do. So that's the ribeye. It's $154. This will last me about a week. That's it.
Is that choice or prime?
So that's choice.
Choice.
Prime is a lot more expensive. That's $11.99 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
So let me show you the prime. But so that's a little too much for me. But look at the marbling on that sucker. So it does have a little bit more marbling, but I don't see the cost extra. $12 a pound. I don't see the cost. I don't see it make up for the cost.
Yeah, me neither.
That's why
So,
I'll never eat
I-
grass-fed meat. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Too expensive. Yeah. So I do what I can afford right now.
I buy the grass-fed ground beef sometimes because it'll be $5 a pound.
Oh yeah.
$6
I'll
a
get the
pound.
bison. Yeah.
But I rarely buy any grass-fed steaks because they're so expensive.
Thanks for reminding me. This is what I get. The organic ground beef right here. 85% lean, 15% fat. And
sounds
that
good.
is, it comes at 4 pounds for $21.99 at $5.49, $5.50.
We'll stay with $3.12 a pound for 92.
Yeah. I see you're laughing. Yeah, it's way cheaper for what you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is $2 or something. It's under $3.
Yeah. Well, they do have one over here. So, but I don't like theirs. So it's $3.39 a pound. I'll show you this one. So, and it's 12% fat, 80% lean, and it comes like this. So I'd have to pack it myself. So it is cheaper, but not worth it to me.
Ray doesn't have time to make his own hamburger patties. He's too busy doing magazine
That's right.
articles for Men's Health.
He was featured in Men's Health recently.
Wow.
Good
Yeah.
article. Too.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they mentioned the carnivore diet. That's what made it a good article, actually. I was very happy about that.
I got in trouble for posting that and zeroing in on health from Kelly Hogan because he mentioned fasting. And the F word is not allowed in zeroing in on health. I
But Kelly
apologize.
actually posted on saying that she didn't like that.
Yeah,
And they took it off. By the way, they took it down.
they did. 'Cause
Yeah, they
last-
got hardcore rules over there, and that's where I learned how to do carnivore. So I don't disagree with what they say. I just accept the fact that there are some people for whom fasting works, but I don't think it's something that everybody should do.
I'll just stop.
And I don't think it should ever be done if you're not fully fat adapted, because you put
There you go. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So people will start doing the fasting. So I had somebody that I convinced coach through, and she automatically started doing one meal a day. And I'm like, you can't do that. But she insisted that she feels fine. She feels great. And of course, 3 months later, she quit. So that's where the problem comes in. When you start it too early, you're just going to give up the carnivore. That's the way I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get it because, when you got a group and you're trying to help all these different people, you really need to keep it simple, straight and forward. To eat meat, drink water, and just go with that. And then when you're a veteran down the road and you know what you're doing, you want to mess around with fasting or OMAD or
Yeah.
do different things, then fine. But I get it. I mean, because just getting used to eating meat and drinking water and being compliant in the beginning is the most important thing. And there's all kinds of, and a lot of us bring this baggage with us from the keto diet or from just biohacking in general, supplements, whatever it is, all these strange practices, even thermogenesis, it's kind of, it's outside the envelope. And I get it. And I know Charles Washington and Kelly Hogan, they kind of want to preserve that culture of let's just help people get started eating meat and drinking water, and let's keep it simple. And let's not have all these confounding factors that gets half these people to quit, So I get it. And I apologize for posting
too.
that. But I blame Raymond for being famous. It's not all my fault.
Right.
Well, let me put it this way. So Men's Health, the reason that they got this article was through the fasting app that I use. I submitted a story to the fasting app. So they automatically promoted that because of that. So that's why they didn't mention MeatRx on there or Dr. Baker, which I did put in my interview. They didn't want to hear anything about that. They just wanted to hear about the fasting part.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
But you got there. People got to see you. You got to talk about carnivore. That's awesome, man.
That's all I cared about. That's
That
right. They put the
step
carnivore diet.
outside-
That's it.
That step outside the bubble was such
That's
a
right.
big deal.
That's it.
And after the carnivore convention, I'm going to try to to be made fun of by our local media. I'm going to start researching and looking for ways of getting my foot in the door, because I'm going to apply the same tactics that I used to apply to get music gigs, that I've applied successfully to get interviews, to the next level. And
Brad,
I know they're
I
going
need
to
to
make
get
fun of me. I know they're going to make fun of me. They're not going to be nice to me, and I expect it, but it'll get the word out.
Yeah.
Brad, I'd like to strategize with you on this.
Yeah, I'd like to
Because
too.
as a team, as a team of carnivores, we could do a lot better. Because it's hard to make fun. Yeah, you're doing the mental issue. You did it for mental issue. They could make fun of that. But when they look at somebody physical and then mental, what are you going to say at that point? You know?
Well, part of the reason why I'm waiting until after the carnivore conference is because I should have a washboard stomach by then.
Oh.
I want to be
You want to what?
I want to be as in
Six pack.
Visible abs.
Nice. All right. I love that.
I want to be in as physically good as I can reasonably expect to be before I start knocking on those doors. Because you guys know as well as I do, if you look the part, you're much more believable.
That's right. That's what I was suggesting. So, yeah, that's great. Well, I guess you don't need me anyways. That's fine.
No, we need everybody.
I believe that you definitely could do that. So, you're looking at already.
So what's your plan?
Say what? Say it again.
Oh, what's your plan, Brett? How are you going to achieve this?
My plan is to first get contact info, and then I'm going to start paying attention to stories in the local media, which I don't really do. We don't know. We don't have any family here. We don't have any points of reference, even though we've been here for 9 years. So I don't pay attention to the local news at all. I know the local TV stations on the dial, but I don't watch them. I've got to learn all that. It's not like if I was back in Huntington, West Virginia, where I grew up, I would know 5 or 6 people who knew people personally that could get me the attention that I so desire. Here, it's just I'm completely blind, so I gotta start with the basics. I gotta find out who's in charge of what.
So what's your plan for getting a washboard abs?
Oh, for washboard.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's a good question.
Let's hear that.
I added more movements to my workout for the last couple of weeks, and I'm doing more on off days. I'm doing sit-ups on off days now that I wasn't doing before. I'm doing some other in-home exercise. I've got some 2.5 pound weights here that I use also on my off heavy day lifting days. I don't like to call them rest days because I'm never really resting.
Active rest days.
Yeah, active rest days. But I'm also always very conscious of not hurting myself. I had a hernia. Gave myself a hernia before we moved down here, moving furniture to the curb to move down here. And I was a genius then. Depression doesn't make you smarter either. So that took a long time to get repaired and resolved and all that nonsense. So I don't want to risk. That's one of the reasons why this has taken so long, is because I've had to be very, very careful. But I'm now at the point where I could, like, every work, and you can ask her, I push myself to the utter limit every time because I can now and not worry about myself as long as I keep the weight reasonable. But that's how I'm going to do it, through hard work and maybe less bacon. I gave up bone broth because of the fat.
You could maybe just skim the fat off if you wanted to have it back, because, you know, if you let it cool down, a lot of times the fat floats to the top. You skim it off, then you could still have the liquid with that's a lot less calories. So,
well, you want to know the weird thing? I drank bone broth for 6 months, 7 months straight, every night, pretty much without fail. And I'm just 10 to 12 ounces before an hour before bedtime, and I slept good. But then when I stopped drinking it, I slept better.
Oh.
I started sleeping 7 hours uninterrupted, which for me, oh my gosh, that's like That's like a vacation
his,
and winning
his
the
sleep has
lottery.
improved over time. I think early on, I think he did need the broth. He also, was having to take a lot of, magnesium and other. I would buy the stuff on Amazon, which one was called like 40,000 volts or something like that. It has magnesium and some other stuff in it. Electrolytes. And because he got so much cramps and stuff in his legs. And see, but I never suffered that much from the cramps. I went through a short period of time where I would get like cramps in my calves, but I almost never get them anymore.
This is what I use now. I don't take the electrolytes at all. I just use this ointment, lotion, rub it on at night before bedtime, and I haven't had a cramp in ages.
It's good to know.
I mean, it's affordable. It lasts a long time. It's very fast acting, and I highly recommend it if you're having that problem. Not everybody has that problem.
Right.
And
that's good to know.
I don't care if I have to use lotion for the rest of my life. I'm not depressed.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, a lot of those medications, the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, the anti-anxiety drugs, they put weight on people, they shorten your life, and you got to take the benzodiazepines. If you have to take them every day, good luck getting off of them. They're just as likely to cause a psychosis, so anyway.
I heard, I can't say who I heard this from because it was in a private group that I helped coach with. But somebody who we all know, and when we're off camera, where we're not recording, I'll share it, took SSRIs and benzodiazepines for quite a number of years and recently had a brain scan and it shows brain damage. Portions of the brain are damaged and not functioning properly at all. And I shudder to think. I shudder to think what my brain looks like now after 20 some years of compliantly taking those pills.
Swiss cheese.
I mean,
I'm teasing.
It's really, I mean, and I know I'm still healing from that to a degree, but I'm a lot better than I was this time last year. I mean, demonstrably better. I mean, thoughts and words now are instantaneous, whereas before the thought and the feeling would come and then the word would be a long time coming out of my mouth. I sounded like I was talking in Morse code to myself a good bit of the time because it got to be frustrating early on because I didn't fully understand what was happening. I had an idea, really comprehend it as well as I do now.
Right. Yeah. Ray and I both been on Carnivore about the same time, a little over a couple of years. And we both are always talk about how we continue to get better. Everything continues, stuff continues to heal up. We continue to feel better. We continue to be more athletic. I'm 49. I got at least a couple of years on Ray. So, but still, I'm like, I'll go out and climb trees and squatting 500 pounds. And I've got hernias too. I've got 3 hernias. I've got 2 compressed discs. I used to have terrible time. I tore this shoulder. I got 3 gunshot wounds. I tore all the soft tissue
wounds
off my right hip. Yeah. No, I have a reconstructed hand. My left hand is reconstructed. And that's the only thing that keeps me from being able to deadlift more than 300 pounds is my left hand. I'm having a hard time holding on. So after all that, I go to the gym, I work out. I don't have any aches and pains. And I had arthritis on top of that, right? When I used to do squats, my neck would hurt so bad for days. I couldn't turn my head. It was hard to drive because I'd be like, oh, shit, I can't see where I'm going, And my lower back would go out. I get sciatica so bad, I'd drag my left foot behind me for like a month at a time. Like I couldn't put any weight on it. It just didn't work. I couldn't roll over in bed. Like I said, when the arthritis got bad, even my right hand, I couldn't turn a doorknob with it. It was like, holy cow. I thought I destroyed myself weightlifting is what I thought had happened. Because I'd wake up in the morning some mornings, and my hands would be clenched like this. And it was all I could do to straighten out my fingers because it hurt so bad. And I thought, oh my God, that's from weightlifting. And now it's fine. Even with a reconstructed hand, I had nerve grafts. So my so I could get feeling back at my fingers and everything, and I don't suffer.
When I was a performing musician, I played in bars and clubs, and 4 sets a night was the standard. And the next morning, I would have to like physically bend these first 2 fingers to get them to work again. I could not make a fist just on my own. And of course, now I'm not gigging. I'm assuming if I went back to gigging that aversion, it wouldn't be as bad, but it would still get inflamed because I was not taught proper. I taught myself how to play. So I taught myself a lot of really bad habits that I can't unlearn. So I form a lot of chords, maybe not in the way that my joints would prefer, but it was music, and I did what I did, and that was just part of the deal. So I can relate to what you were talking about, not being able, when you can't close your hand, that's not a comfortable feeling. It's not like something that inspires you to start your day.
Yeah. Well, and I was used to, being able to curl up to, 100-pound dumbbells or something like that. And then all of a sudden you can't turn a doorknob. It doesn't compute, you're like, what is going on here? So.
It's amazing the damage we did to ourselves thinking we were doing good. Diets we were told were healthy for us were exactly the opposite.
Oh, I used to believe that an apple a day would keep the doctor away. And what happened was a lot of times I'd eat an apple on the way to work in the car because I'm always in traffic anyway. So I'd eat an apple, sometimes an apple and a banana. And when I would get to work, my arthritis would be worse than when I got out of bed. And I was like, could it be? Could an apple make my joints hurt that bad? Could an apple tie up my back in knots? Or is it just the car seat or what? And then it's like, well, I'll just not eat any fruit and see what happens. Then boom, instead of my arthritis getting worse on the way to work, it got better. So, and then it was like, give up the brown rice, give up the quinoa, give up all that, the Ezekiel bread and all that stuff that was supposed to be good for me. I was spending a ton of money on. Yeah, you want to know how to save money. Don't buy all that stuff. Don't buy the organic quinoa. Don't buy the sprouted grain bread and all that stuff. Don't be buying the apples and the bananas and all that stuff, because that stuff's expensive. And like we all said, you keep eating it because you're never really satisfied. I mean, even the old Freely videos, I think there was one day she's like, I ate 40 bananas yesterday. And you're like, how could a human being fit that much food in their body, right?
That's so much fiber and so much sugar. How did she probably look like she
bananas?
was? She looked like she was 8 months pregnant after she got done eating that.
Oh gosh!
And that was a long time ago, but I remember seeing that going, wow, that's amazing. Maybe we're just supposed to eat bananas.
Well, you know what's frightening about that is I used to genuinely believe that if things got bad enough, as long as I had bananas, I'd be all right. I actually thought that because, hey, fruit was healthy. Bananas are full of vitamins and da-da-da-da-da.
And
hell, bananas exactly the same.
Bananas taste great, right? There's no.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think like as like planning for the future or any self-sustaining, your household, World War III, whatever. Okay, as long as I have a little garden and some chickens or something, you can get by. And now I'm like, geez, I would need like a couple of cows.
At least a couple.
Hey, if society collapses, the first thing I'm doing is going into cattle wrestling. I'm just saying. Steal some goats.
I got plenty of squirrels outside. I'll keep myself alive somehow. And fish.
Well, the good thing about squirrels is they're often kind of nutty.
A good one.
Well, when we were in South Carolina, and he and our son shot so many freaking squirrels.
We had a pecan tree, and I loved pecans.
Squirrel magnet, giant
squirrels.
I love pecans. Oh my gosh, I love pecans. And who knows how much damage I did to myself then. But and the squirrels, for the first couple of years we lived there, the trees were such the squirrels couldn't get to it. I ate pecans like a king.
Then the tree got big enough that it joined like the squirrel highway. And then there was
I never saw. I went 2
Oh.
years without eating
No
a
pecan,
single
yeah.
pecan. But the squirrels feasted, and I probably killed 30 of them because they were pests. Now I would kill them and eat them.
don't see too many now.
No, we used to along the back fence.
I bet they were tasty those 2 years. Too bad you didn't eat them then.
Oh,
Pecan flavored squirrel, that'd be pretty good.
pecan flavored.
The things we missed.
But that was just insanity. And to think, knowing what I know now,
Well, we're gonna retire somewhere where there's good fishing.
Mm.
He's not interested in going hunting. I wanna learn to go hunting because I'll eat rabbit or whatever. But
I've been hunting. I know how to hunt. I like hunting. The problem is since I have to use cannabis, I'm not real keen on operating
yeah, we don't need to go
a firearm while I'm under the influence of anything.
And I don't really want to clean anything bigger than a rabbit. Plus, you can make stuff out of the pelts. So.
I don't know. I've got my eye on some wild boar around here, so they're an invasive species, and you can hunt them with a bow year round here. And I'm all about the bows, so I love archery. It's been in my blood since I was a kid. So.
Well, here in the great forest of Jacksonville.
Now here out in the country, they've got boar out here out in the country.
I'm sure they do.
Here, and we're not out in the country.
Well, not now.
We're in the middle of a
metropolitan
area.
If we retire out to the boondocks, then we'll see.
The boar live right in between. I live in a town that's probably 80,000 homes, and there's still wild boar running around. It's not exactly out in the country.
That's
and
crazy.
Because there's not enough predators.
They tear up the golf courses, the parks, and everything. They come in early morning and they just rip all the grass out. So, and they've been here since the 1700s. You know, these look like Russian boars, and they must have come. There was a bunch of Spanish and Russian immigrants that settled farther north up here, and these pigs have been destroying everything ever since. And we have mountain lions. The people the next town over had one of their horses attacked by a mountain lion the other day, and you've probably seen on the news mountain lions showing up in people's backyards. I don't know if you saw it on the news, but recently.
I know about that. I do hear about coyotes all the time. They're a huge
problem. Oh yeah, the coyote left half a cat in my front yard the other day. So, and I set up trail cams with my buddy, and we caught a bobcat walking through the scene. It looked like a freaking ghost walking through. Like, that's a bobcat walking through there, right where the pigs are. I'm sure he was hunting the same pigs I was hunting. So we have critters, but the pigs, they populate so fast. They can have like 5 litters a year, and multiple piglets in a litter. And there's plenty of food. There's a lot of agriculture where I live. There's a lot of dairy and crops that grow corn right here. So the pigs just always have something to eat. So hopefully I'll have something to eat soon too.
I expect you shall.
Got my eye on them, so just got to be patient. So
I don't know what I do with the boar. It's just like, let's just cut off the belly and leave the rest.
Yeah, I think most people harvest the younger pigs, leave the breeding pairs alone for the most part, because they're having so many. So just about any of the pigs that are under 200 pounds are usually pretty tasty and tender. The ones that get bigger than that, and of course, almost all the sows are nice and tender and tasty. So, kind of can't go wrong.
I'm going to hand the computer to her for a minute because I got to run to the restroom.
All right. Well, we can wrap it.
No.
You have the power, dear.
We can wrap it up if you want. I know
I'll be right back.
We've been at it for quite a while. And I don't know. Do we want to try and wait till Raymond actually gets out of line at Costco? Because that's usually
how'd you know I was in line? That's pretty good.
You stopped weaving.
It's the longest part of everybody's day is waiting in line at Costco.
Oh, that's why we go to Sam's at like 8:00 in the morning. There's nobody there.
See, I hit Sam's on the way home from work. I get in there like at 7 p.m. on a
Oh, by
Wednesday.
then it should be. Is it pretty empty by then?
Yeah, it's empty. And the funny thing is, I parked way away 2 weeks ago, and somebody decided to park right next to me. There's empty spots all around me, and they wedged in between a row of shopping carts in my car, so I couldn't open my door. I mean, I literally couldn't open my door.
You don't have any stickers on your car that people hate, do you?
No, I should have put something scary on there, but maybe next time. I don't have any stickers, so I don't know. I think I couldn't believe it. I took pictures of it. I'm gonna put it up on Facebook because it's completely ridiculous.
Some people don't like to park by themselves. They think there's like some kind of bizarre parking lot safety if you're
Perhaps.
next to somebody else. And other people don't want to be near anybody else, mostly probably because they don't want their car to get dinged.
Oops, I'm sorry. You all right?
You didn't hurt me. I thought
Okay.
you broke your chair for a second.
Well, I mean,
So if you guys want to check out my cart, so all meat, cheese,
sorry, Greg.
clothes,
Daddy.
got roses too, and the ribeye.
Looks
Mm.
good. Looks good, brother.
I didn't know they sold karate belts at Costco. They didn't get his mic's off. That's too funny.
Well, guys, I've enjoyed
what'd you
this.
say?
seriously.
I said I didn't know they sold karate belts at
Dad,
Costco.
do you need this?
You saw it.
Eat this.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this too. I think we're gonna wind it up, Raymond. So, but it was good talking to you again, Brett.
Sounds good. Yeah, Brett, great talking to you.
Good talking to you, gentlemen. Keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Likewise.
And,
I can't wait to meet you at Carnivore Con, Brett. That'll be great.
it's going to happen, brother. I'm
I hope Tom
excited.
will be there.
Now I really have to think about going.
Come on.
I'm gonna have friends there. Oh no.
We're going to be there both of us are going to be there both days. Danielle and I will be there both days. And,
I
Tom,
think
you heard-
Lisa's going too, right?
she hasn't. If she is, she hasn't.
She already booked. No, she did. She already booked her ticket.
Good deal. I did get word to her about Amber asking me if I was interested in sharing my story, my N=1 experience.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
she's very, very happy about that. Of course, she and Amber have known each other a long time.
I'm trying to get Amber to do one of these videos with me. I've been bugging her for a while, so maybe if you slip that one in one of these times, maybe you can get her to come on with you.
Yeah, with Dr. Lisa on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Lisa, that'd be fantastic. Knowing Amber, I don't really know Amber. I mean, we've talked on occasion, and I have enormous respect for her. But my guess is that she'll come on when she thinks she's come up with something she's never talked about before.
Yeah, I get that too, and I don't blame her. But she's kind of one of my heroes, so I'm dying to kind of get some time with her on screen and see what's going on there. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to meeting her in the flesh and telling her no matter what happens, when I tell my story, listen, it's your fault I'm here at all. It's your fault, Amber, because if you hadn't given that talk, I would never have learned. I would never have had enough pieces of the puzzle to do this.
it's her fault I met you. It's her fault I met Raymond. It's her fault I met Sean, probably, and Lisa and everybody else, Emily, Justin, the whole gang,
She's responsible. Isn't it interesting how the power of one person's telling can affect so many lives?
Yeah. It's amazing. Just people just sharing their stories. That's why I keep doing these videos. So something great always comes out. I learn something in every one of these encounters. So it's been very rewarding, and it helps people. All right, everybody. I'm going to wind this up real quick. I just want to thank everybody for watching. I hope it was useful for people, and maybe send the link out to people that can benefit from it. And if you can, subscribe and give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you want us to talk about in the future, and maybe we can answer some questions for you. Otherwise, we'll see everybody online. Come see us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, and I'll post as much of that info as I can in the show notes. So thanks, everybody. Feel better.